Well, it finally happened. Johnny Somali, the human embodiment of an unsupervised middle schooler on Xbox Live, has been stabbed multiple times due to consequences for his actions. It's like watching a cockroach finally walk into the bug zapper after dodging it for way too long. This guy has been running around acting like the final boss of stupidity for years, harassing random people, disrespecting entire cultures, and somehow thinking that being the most hated man on the internet is some kind of W. But karma has finally checked its watch and said, alright, it's time to collect. For those of you who somehow missed it, Johnny Somali is a streamer whose entire content strategy revolves around being an absolute menace to society. The guy built his whole brand around running up to people in Japan, screaming racial slurs, and then acting surprised when they didn't high-five him. It's like he genuinely thought he was starring in Jackass, but forgot the part where the stunts are supposed to be funny. Instead, he just became the human equivalent of nails on a chalkboard. The first real taste of consequences hit him in September 2023, when he got arrested in Osaka after harassing a train conductor. This was peak Johnny Somali behavior, loud, obnoxious, and completely unaware of how laws work. The dude was basically speed running a prison sentence, getting in people's faces and daring authorities to do something about it. Well, Japan finally took him up on that offer and threw him in jail. Japanese jail is not like some cushy influencer rehab. This isn't some LA clout chaser timeout where you get to post apology videos from a luxury Airbnb. This is real punishment. Reports said he was held for several weeks, and in that time he went radio silent. No live streams, no dumbass antics, just pure uncut consequences. You'd think this would have been a wake-up call, right? That after spending weeks in a foreign jail, he'd reevaluate his life choices and maybe stop treating other cultures like his personal punching bag? Nah. The second he got out, he was back at it again. His brain is running on Windows 95 at this point. It's incapable of processing new information. He doubled down, started streaming in other Asian countries, still acting like a discount prank YouTuber from 2014. But the universe wasn't done slapping him around just yet, because after his Japan arrest, he got banned on multiple platforms. Twitch wanted nothing to do with his nonsense. YouTube started cracking down. Even Kick, the platform that will let streamers do just about anything short of committing war crimes, had to take action. This was the first sign that even the grimiest corners of the internet were realizing that Johnny Somali wasn't edgy or entertaining, he was just a fucking loser. Now, you'd think after getting thrown into a Japanese jail, Johnny Somali would finally realize that actions have consequences. But no, this dude treats consequences like side quests. He walked out of jail and immediately started doing the exact same shit that got him locked up in the first place. It's like watching someone fail the same level over and over again but refuse to change their strategy. So after Japan had enough of his nonsense, Johnny decided to spread his stupidity to other countries. And surprise, surprise, he got his ass handed to him again. This time in South Korea, he was in Seoul doing his usual routine of harassing people on livestream because apparently he thinks being an international embarrassment is a full-time career. But then the Korean police stepped in, and this was one of the funniest arrests I've ever seen. The second the cops rolled up, Johnny immediately switched from internet tough guy to crying like a kid caught shoplifting. This dude, who spent months trying to act invincible, was now panicking, asking for a lawyer like he just realized laws exist. But here's the thing, Korean police don't play. They don't do that American style, sir, please comply nonsense. They just grab you and drag you straight to the station. And that's exactly what they did to Johnny. His dumbass was detained and questioned for violating South Korea's laws on public disturbances and harassment. He was later released, but it was clear that every country he visited was starting to recognize him as the world's most annoying tourist. But if you thought he learned his lesson after that, you clearly give him too much credit. Because in December 2023, Johnny went to Thailand. And this is where shit really hit the fan. At first, it was just the usual, him harassing locals, getting in people's faces and acting like he was untouchable. But then he messed with the wrong people. Imagine being such a loser that you piss off an entire country and end up begging the cops to save you from the ass-kicking you rightfully earned. But the real knockout punch came in January 2024, when Thai authorities officially arrested him. This wasn't just some overnight holding cell type of thing. They hit him with immigration charges, revoked his visa, and deported his dumbass. That's right, Johnny Somali got banned from an entire country. The Thai government literally said, "Get the fuck out and don't come back." And to make it even more humiliating, they paraded him in front of the media like a captured war criminal. Dude looked absolutely miserable. But his old trick didn't work anymore because every country he stepped foot in took one look at his antics and immediately started writing up the paperwork to kick him out. His entire career had turned into an international most wanted speedrun, except instead of being a criminal mastermind, he was just a dumbass with a selfie stick. Speaking of his Thailand deportation, because holy shit, that was satisfying, the Thai government didn't just quietly throw him on a plane, they made a whole show out of it. They had him in handcuffs, walked him through the airport like he was some kind of terrorist, and made sure every news camera in the country got a nice clear shot of his defeated, miserable face. It was the influencer equivalent of a public execution. And the best part? The dude tried to play victim. He went from acting like an untouchable internet warlord to begging for sympathy the second he realized that Thailand wasn't Japan. There was no getting away with this shit here. He was crying about how he was being unfairly targeted, as if he hadn't spent the last year making himself a global nuisance. Once he got deported, things started falling apart even faster. By this point, his reputation was so trashed that even the most degenerate streaming platforms didn't want him anymore. Kick banned him. That's right, Kick, the platform that lets people gamble, get drunk, and do borderline illegal shit live, took one look at Johnny Somali and said, "Yeah, even we have standards." When you get banned from Kick, you know you've reached the bottom of the barrel. He had no country to hide in, no major streaming platform to fall back on, and his entire audience was just people waiting for him to get arrested again. He wasn't a content creator anymore. He was a crash test dummy for karma. And let's be real, he did this to himself. Nobody feels bad for him. This isn't some redemption arc where he learns from his mistakes and turns his life around. This is the long, slow downfall of a guy who thought being a public nuisance was a personality trait. He kept doubling down, kept acting invincible, and now he's a nobody with no platform and no place to go. You'd think that maybe, just maybe, he'd finally realize that he wasn't some untouchable IRL supervillain. But nope, Johnny's brain is hardwired for self-destruction. Instead of laying low, he kept running his mouth online, talking about how he was still gonna keep streaming, still gonna keep entertaining. But bro, who exactly are you entertaining? Your only audience at this point is Interpol and the UN waiting to add you to the do not enter list. Nobody is watching your content because they enjoy it. They're watching to see what country throws your ass out next. And speaking of countries that want nothing to do with him, after getting kicked out of Thailand, he tried going back to Japan. The same Japan that arrested him the first time, held him in jail for weeks, and made it clear they weren't fucking around. This dude pulled up like a band kid sneaking back into a Chuck E. Cheese thinking no one would notice. Spoiler alert, they noticed. Japan was like, oh hell no, not this guy again. The second he showed up, he got detained by immigration. He didn't even get a chance to step off the plane and start his bullshit again. They were already waiting for him, like a final boss standing at the end of the level. They stopped him before he could even touch Japanese soil and denied his entry. He got sent packing immediately, like an unwanted spam email. And yet, even after all this, he still didn't shut up. He kept making videos acting like he was the victim, saying shit like, "They're just trying to silence me." Bro, the world isn't trying to silence you. They just don't want to deal with your bullshit anymore. You're not some revolutionary figure. You're just a loud, annoying dude who finally ran out of places to hide. The only place left for Johnny Somali to go is either a country that hasn't heard of him yet or straight to prison.